sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Fox Sports.
Final 4 games of this 10-game homestand. The Rays and the Baltimore Orioles who come into town. Tampa Bay trying to improve on a 2-4 homestand to this point. The Orioles lead the Rays by 1 game in 3rd place in the American League East. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Tropicana Field. Todd Callis alongside Doug Wechter. As we get ready for this game tonight, we've got Matt Moore on the mound for Tampa Bay. He'll be opposed by Chris Tillman. There's a couple of big sluggers in both lineups, and we'll start with the Orioles lineup, beginning with Chris Davis, who loves to do damage against Tampa Bay.
Well, yeah, he loves to do damage, but through a lot of guys since the 2012 season, 154 home runs. Look, this guy rarely misses a fastball up in the zone. His swing is so sweet and effortless. Look, you see 42 home runs this year, 107 RBIs. He's doing it with people on base, and, you know, it's just really one of those swings that you look at and you think, well, how is it traveling that far? But he's so big, he's so powerful, and if you're Matt Moore, you really don't want to be throwing the ball up in the zone tonight.
Moore has had success against Davis. 3 for 15 overall is Davis in his career against the lefty for the Rays starting tonight. On the other side, Chris Tillman has not had success against Evan Longoria, and Evan will be batting in that familiar 3rd spot in the Rays lineup this season.
This will be a lot more fun to watch if you're a Rays fan than Chris Davis. Look, he's coming off of his best month of the season, 288 so far in his batting average. And, you know, when it comes against Tillman, he's just got this patient approach to where he waits until Tillman makes the mistake. Tillman's got a very good fastball, a good slider, but Evan just takes that approach where he fights off the pitches he doesn't like, and he waits. He waits for that pitch up in the zone, and when he gets that pitch up in the zone, he capitalizes on that slider inside. He's able to pull his hands through. He's got the quick hands, react quick, pull on it, and launch it.
Those are your number 3 hitters in tonight's game. We'll have the full lineups in first pitch right around the corner. Evan Longoria, traditionally, September, his best month. And once again this year with those 4 home runs so far, midway through the month of September. We're ready for baseball on this Thursday night. The Orioles are in town. First pitch between the Rays and the O's in less than 7.5 minutes. Chris Tillman against Matt Moore is your pitching matchup. We'll be right back with more from Tropicana Field. to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Outback Steakhouse, curbside takeaway. And by Morgan Auto Group. Make it Morgan, we make it happen. Rays take on the Orioles for the 6th time this year. 4 of those 6 series have been here at Tropicana Field. Logan Forsythe back in the 4 spot. And Matt Moore will be starting tonight for Tampa Bay. In a little more than 4 minutes, Dwayne NBA with all the action next.
The Baltimore Orioles. Season for the Baltimore Orioles, blasting 42 home runs and driving in 107. Tonight, Rays left-hander Matt Moore has the task of slowing down the powerful Orioles attack. And with that in mind, the left-hander Matt Moore goes to the hill to face this Baltimore Oriole ball club tonight. Matt trying to get back on track, making his 9th start, coming back off Tommy John surgery, and in with a record of 1-4. He will face this lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Nolan Reimold will lead it off in left, followed by Manny Machado, and then the big bat of Glenn Davis. Chris Davis, actually. There was a Glenn Davis.
There was. I know Glenn Davis.
And he hit a lot of home runs.
Yes.
Davis hits third, the DH. Adam Jones in center. Matt Wieters behind the plate. Jonathan Scope is at second. Steve Pearce at first. J.J. Hardy is the shortstop. Dario Alvarez hits ninth and plays right field.
Well, and for Matt Moore to get over the hump, which is what he's working to do right now, it goes back to command of the fastball, and that will be something to look for. That's been the one thing that Matt Moore has struggled with as he's come back from injury, is the fastball command. But if he's able to do that, then you're able to expand that zone with the fastball and with that curveball. You go back 2 starts ago against the New York Yankees, in the first 4 innings of that start, that was as good as we've seen Matt Moore. If he can get back to that, he'll be able to get deeper into this game and give his team a chance to win. But it will start with strike one with the heater. Let's take a look at the defense as it lines up behind Matt Moore tonight, brought to you by our friends at BMW. In the outfield, left to right, Brandon Guyer, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. And across that infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Tim Beckham, Logan Forsythe, and James Loney, with Luke Maile behind the plate.
Rays start the night 7-8 in the season series against Baltimore. And they're a game back of Baltimore now in the American League East at 70-75, running fourth, and the Orioles third at 71-74. There's Nolan Reimold stepping in, and the first pitch of this game from Matt Moore is upstairs. So we are underway right on time at 10 past 7. First pitch presented by Pitch a Penny. Fouled back and out of play, 1-1. Dry and comfortable inside Tropicana Field. We can hear the rain coming down. A hard rain outside.
And there's visual evidence.
2-1 the count to Reimold.
Well, the good thing is they put the forecast out on the Jumbotron here before the ball game, and it looks like by the weekend rain chances go way down. Should be beautiful.
2-2 now on Reimold. We'll look at Buck Showalter. John Russell, his bench coach, alongside a moment ago. Manny Machado is on deck. Reimold is out on strikes to start this game. So a strikeout posted by Matt Moore.
Matt Moore, there's absolutely nothing fancy about what he did to Nolan Reimold. 93 miles an hour, right on the outside corner. And he just gets the swing and a miss. And this is what he will get a lot of when he works ahead in the count. That time even at 2-2, but still an opportunity to put somebody away.
Machado starts the night with 29 home runs on the year. Strike one.
What a year he's had.
Ground ball grabbed by Matt. Over to first. Machado is the second out. So 2 up and 2 down. And here is the designated hitter. And the Slugger Deluxe, tied for first in the American League with 42 home runs, Chris Davis. Remember 2 years ago in 2013, he had 53 home runs. Fouls it out of play.
Well, and last year the average took a severe dip. The number of home runs batted in. Just a down year for Chris Davis. You see in 14, but how about 13 and now 15? Nice comeback.
1 ball, 1 strike. Davis was originally, back in 04, drafted by the Yankees in the 50th round. Drafted out of high school and did not sign. 2-1, eventually started his pro career in 2006. He was a 5th round pick by the Texas Rangers. Big cut. 2-2.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you're going to be down with Chris Davis, that's better. That had better be where it's at. Because down and out over the plate, down in a way where he can get extension, he drives that ball. We saw that in that last series in Baltimore in the final game of that series.
Yeah, that walk-off in the 11th inning, we saw plenty of that. He made the point. And there's a strikeout of Davis swinging. 2 strikeouts for Matt Moore. Good night out. Rays coming in to hit. The lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. John Jaso, the DH, leads it off. Then Brandon Guyer and Evan Longoria. Logan Forsythe, James Loney, and Steven Souza Jr. down the middle. Tim Beckham is the shortstop. Kevin Kiermaier hits eighth, playing center field. Luke Maile will do the catching at bat ninth.
Well, for Chris Tillman, he's trying to get back on the winning track. 9-11 record on the season. The last win came on August the 17th. In the 5 starts since then, he is 0-4 with an 8.42 earned run average.
So here's Jaso taking the first pitch wide. Jaso starts the night hitting .283. Been an interesting year for Tillman in that way. He had that winning streak early. That stopped, and he has struggled. 2-0, 9-11 overall this year after going 13-6 a year ago.
Well, here's the thing with Chris Tillman. Well, he's never been a rare back and just power it by you guy. The fastball that we've seen in his last start in Baltimore, here tonight already, the fastball like 88, 89, that is down for him.
3-0 swinging. It's popped up foul. Wieters after it. Machado over there in a hurry, and he could not hold it. Machado, a sliding attempt on that one to get there in time, and could not hold it. Boy, what a catch that would have been.
Yeah, count this one against the shift. He had to come so far to try and make this play because of where he was. I mean, that right there is a 3-0 gift out for the Baltimore Orioles, but because of the defensive alignment, nobody could get there.
Well, a great effort by Machado. And Jaso has another shot. There's ball 4. Leadoff man aboard for the Rays tonight.
Let's take a look at the Baltimore Oriole defense, brought to you by BMW. In the outfield, left to right, Nolan Reimold, Adam Jones, and Dario Alvarez. Across the infield, third to first, Manny Machado, J.J. Hardy, Jonathan Scope, and Steve Pearce, with Matt Wieters behind the plate.
It's Brandon Guyer. Guyer 3 of 8 in his career against Tillman. Chops it to third. Machado takes it to second. One. They go third, second to first for that double play.
Boy, credit Manny Machado. A nice job of getting to that ball before the second bounce. Right here, getting it to it and then throwing on the run accurately to Scope. Nice feed, easy for Jonathan Scope to make the relay and double up Brandon Guyer.
Machado's presence already felt in this game. He was out pitcher first at the plate, but defensively, great effort and a nice play there. Here's Evan. Longoria takes it down and away, a breaking ball. Longoria with 6 career home runs off Tillman. 16 of 46 against the 27-year-old right-hander. Tillman, starting in early June, put together 7 consecutive wins. Down to third. Machado across the diamond to Pearce, and the Rays are out in the first. On to the second inning, no score. Adam Jones will open the second inning. Our viewing big matchup tonight. In his career against Matt Moore, 11 of 21, 524 with 2 home runs. So a big challenge right here in the second inning for Matt Moore. Good first inning, 1, 2, 3, and 2 strikeouts.
And this will test the ability to throw quality strikes, which is what Matt Moore needs to do to become the Matt Moore of old, the Matt Moore that won 17 games a couple of seasons ago.
It's a strike. You know, we've seen the velocity from Moore since he's come back.
Not the same as when he first came up, but that 92 to 94 range, you could certainly live in there.
The foul ball straight back. And, you know, before the surgery, we weren't seeing a lot of that 97 either.
No.
You know, we saw 92, 93, 94, and we're seeing that again here.
And you can pitch there, effectively pitch there, but you've got to put it in good spots more times than not. And that is what Matt Moore needs to do. The stuff is there. The stuff is plenty good. It's all about getting it to the right areas. You know, we've seen him with a better curveball since, you know, coming back from the minor leagues when he went down there to work on some things. He's kind of pared down the arsenal and simplified things, simplified the delivery, all in that attempt to get the ball where it needs to be, like that.
Ooh, that's a nice pitch there, and he did go around on the appeal down to first.
You know, he's staying nice and tall right now with that curveball and throwing it with his arm out in front, not with his body. And you get the late break right there, and Adams Jones just cannot hold up on it. Look at him stay nice and tall. Then let the hand do the work, and that late break gets him.
We're only 4 hitters in, but what we've seen so far, very encouraging for Matt Moore. I mean, very encouraging.
This is the start against the Yankees, the first 4 innings. I mean, he came out like this. I mean, he just was skated right through. And so you know it's there. Just a matter of consistently putting it all together.
Oh, 0-2 the count on Wieters. Off speed there.
And there you see the changeup. You know, we've seen him good with the heater already. We saw the curveball to Jones, now the changeup to Wieters. That, the majority of the time, is what he's going to go with. He may cut it every now and then if he's feeling good, but those are going to be the top 3.
And strike 3 call. Breaking ball at 79 has him looking. So 4 strikeouts of the first 5 hitters he's faced.
Well, what a way to start the ball game for Matt Moore. Able to spin that curveball right in there. Matt Wieters cannot even start the swing.
Now he faces Jonathan Scope, the second baseman, who's been a hot hitter recently. He takes a strike. 9-game hitting streak for Scope, and hitting .289 overall. That fastball in there on him, and he fouls it the other way, 0-2.
The only problem was he wanted it away. But you can live with those mistakes. So, you know, here's the difference. He didn't miss out over the plate.
Yep.
It's one thing to go away and miss out over the plate. It's another to miss on the edges, which is where he missed that one, and he got a strike out of it.
And that's what we saw in the Boston start. Lifted back into left center field. Geyer on the run is there and makes the catch. 1, 2, 3 go the Orioles in the second. Through an inning and a half, we have no score. raise up for Williams Middle Magnet School teacher Diane McGee. Diane, an 8th grade language arts teacher with a strong passion for ensuring the success of her students. As a result of her outstanding efforts, she was named the 2015 Hillsborough County Teacher of the Year and 2015 Florida Teacher of the Year. Diane McKee, we raise up for education. First pitch strike into Logan Forsythe. 0-2. Forsythe, Loney, and then Souza. Rays had a walk in the first. The double play took care of Jaso. Ground ball to third by Geyer. And now Forsythe leading off the second against Tillman. And Tillman picks up the strikeout.
Oh, nice job by Chris Tillman working the strike zone against Logan Forsythe there. That fastball, that was middle in, and watch Logan swing. Hands get a little bit low, swing tries to pull those hands through, and that ball just surprised him, and he's able to get it by him.
James Loney. Up the middle, that's going to get through. In between Scope and Hardy. Loney is aboard, jumping on the first pitch.
James Loney living right now. Big night last night. Watch him split the defenders perfectly. I mean, right down the middle.
Boy, Loney has been very good putting that first pitch into play. He came in hitting .370 when he puts the first pitch of an at-bat into play, and he has another base hit here.
Well, and it's one thing to be aggressive. It's another to be aggressive and smart. You know, you want to swing early, but it's got to be your pitch. .370 tells you that he's swinging at a lot of his pitches.
Steven Souza Jr. He takes a fastball for a strike. Souza 3 for 12 with a home run off Tillman. 1-1. And this one hits him. Souza hit by a pitch. The Rays put 2 men on with 1 out.
Now you're trying to bury a fastball in. There's not a whole lot of room for air in there. If you're going to get it in off the plate, and that ball just runs away from Chris Tillman and right in to Steven Souza Jr. Well, you would like to make that mistake be paid for, because that Steven Souza Jr. up there trying to get a fastball in, and you take a hit by pitch, and clearly just a missed thrown fastball by Tillman, and 2 runners aboard. And how about the Sox on Beckham? 1987.
It's a strike. Guys had sideburns like that in 1987 as well.
I mean, those are the old school.
Yes, they are.
I think I was actually in high school when those came out. That's how old those Sox are. The 2-1s.
Just like that, Beckham is behind in the count now, taking that fastball for a strike. Rays with the first scoring opportunity in the game. Loney in second and Souza Jr. at first. And Beckham Out on 3 pitches. 2 gone.
Well, Tillman with the fastball that stays true, that four-seamer, not a ton of movement, and he just climbs the ladder. And here it is. Beckham sees it well and takes that half-hearted swing. I think he probably realized right about there that was a mistake.
Well, we'll see what Kiermaier can do. Kevin has not had a lot of success against Tillman. He's just 2 for 14 off him. Plays off the pitch up here. Did not chase the fastball. 1-0. Since the early part of August, though, Kiermaier has hit over 300. There's a shot toward right. Alvarez is there, however, to make the catch on a line. And the Rays lead 2. We go to the 3rd. No score.
Tonight, and both Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, and Kevin Cash, the manager, really encouraged, not with the results of the last start, but with the way the ball came out of his hand. They felt like that was as good a stuff as Matt Moore had at any major league start this year. And guys, when talking to Matt Moore last night, he says, I know I'm not just about results, but I'm trying to accomplish 2 things the rest of the way. Number 1, don't fall behind hitters. Number 2, better pitch execution when he gets to 2 strikes. So far, so good tonight.
Starts the 3rd inning with 12 consecutive strikes, and there's another one. He had a 10-pitch 2nd inning, all strikes.
You cannot beat that. I mean, that obviously as good as you can get, and efficient on top of it. But Matt Moore is right. I mean, when the big count for the Rays, Jim Hickey likes to say, what do you do in the 1-1 count? Do you go to 1-2 or 2-1? That's the big swing. And after 2-1, the on-base percentage against Matt Moore is .558. And so when he identifies the fact of pitching ahead, that's the reason why. He falls behind in that count, and just far too many base runners.
(0-2) to Pierce. 11 home runs on the year. It's popped up. Right side foul. Loney is after it and makes the catch for the out. Matt off to a very good start so far tonight.
Yeah, not too early to go to the highlight reel with Matt Moore. He has been that good and that true. You mentioned that 2nd inning, 10 pitches, 10 strikes. The fastball's been good. He's been able to close out a couple of hitters with the curveball. We've seen a couple of very good changeups from Matt in the early going.
Now he faces J.J. Hardy. And the pitch is down for a ball, so he threw 16 consecutive strikes before that pitch low to J.J. Hardy. Hardy pops it into shallow left, and Geyer puts this one away.
And how about the pitch selection? I mean, obviously right now Matt Moore is feeling it. He falls behind 1-0, his first ball in 16 pitches that you just pointed out, and he comes with a 1-0 changeup and gets the aggressive Hardy out in front, soft fly ball to left field. Not only throwing strikes, but pitching.
Ariel Alvarez now. Fouled back for a strike. Alvarez up at the end of August. Called up from Norfolk, their AAA affiliate. He had 275 there with 16 home runs. And there's strike two. Well, he's gone through a stretch now. That's 19 out of 20 pitches that are strikes. Fly ball to right. Souza Jr.'s there, and it's a 1-2-3 third. No score through 2.5. Great moment presented by Geico. Last night, Bryce Harper blasted his 40th home run of the year for the Washington Nationals, thereby becoming the 6th youngest player in MLB history to reach 40 home runs in a single season. How about that for company? Mel Ott, Eddie Matthews, Johnny Bench, Joe DiMaggio, Juan Gonzalez, and now Bryce Harper. First pitch, Luke Maile takes a curveball outside, 1-0.
Bryce Harper has had an absolute monster year for a very disappointing Washington National Ball Club.
Boy, they were almost everybody's pick
to get to the series.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to win the East, and then a lot of people said this team is going all the way, and they may not even make the playoffs. Probably won't make the playoffs.
Fastball by the Rays' young catcher, and it's 2-1. Let's take a look at that National League East. Well, the Mets out in front by 7.5, and that was really the only competition in the East. Everybody else way behind. There's a popper and Scopes out there to handle that. Maley is retired.
Well, you've got Philadelphia in a complete rebuild, Atlanta in a complete rebuild, the Marlins still trying to figure out how to build, and then those two teams at the top. And it was supposed to be flip-flopped.
Here's John Jaso. Shift on for Jaso. High fly ball, towering and deep to right. Alvarez lost it. It's up there, off that would be the C ring, and that's a home run.
Is it off of it or is it still on it?
I think it's still up there somewhere.
I don't know if that ever came down, but that ball was mashed by John Jaso.
Alvarez going back in front of the wall, and then that ball, towering shot to right. So it's up there somewhere. Let's see if we can track it. Home run number 4 for Jaso.
Watch the extension, and then look at that ball just rocket off the bat. This is a great shot. Follow.
Geyer fouls the first pitch. We're going to complete the tracking of that fly ball. Let's take another look.
And we left off right about here. And you can see it bounce up in there, and it's right up there on the catwalk for you. Go pick it up.
0-2 now to Geyer. So the 19th home run of the year given up by Tillman, and number 4 on the year for John Jaso, makes it 1-0. 1 ball, 2 strikes. To the count. Liner into right. Alvarez reaches down, and did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Dale Scott, the second base umpire, out there saying he got there to keep it from hitting the turf.
Yeah, that may have had more sinking action than Alvarez had planned for, and it was a late reach. I mean, look at that. That hand almost coming out of the glove. Utilizing every bit of that outfielder's glove to make that catch.
That's why those outfielder gloves are so big.
Butterfly net with a logo on it.
Yeah, Evan Longoria takes a pitch down. Well, the Rays with an early lead here on the home run by Jaso. 2-0. Two and one. And the foul ball. Well, that ball stayed up there on the C ring that Jaso hit. We're getting word that's the 5th time in the history of Tropicana Field that a ball has hit the C ring and stayed up there. First time since 2008 when David Ortiz hit one up there. A high pop up foul ball, and that's coming straight back and out of play. Bit wide with that pitch. Fastball. Full count to Longoria. Evans sends a fly ball toward the line and left. Raimo's got a lot of ground to cover, and he gets there to make the catch just inside the line. Home run by J-Cell, and there it is. You see it lodged right up there with some cabling up there in the catwalk, so it's resting comfortably up there. A home run off the bat of John J-Cell, and at the end of 3, 1-0 Tampa Bay. Premiere of the Rays brand new kids TV show, Rays Rookies. That'll be Sunday morning at 11:30. For more info, go to raysbaseball.com/Rays Rookies and check your listings for more episodes on Sun Sports. Executive producer, we're proud to say, Larry McCabe on Rays Rookies. There's a first pitch strike to Nolan Reimold. Pitch is down, 1-1. Hot shot. That ball is fair, says C.B. Buckner. And headed to second is Nolan Reimold. Boy, that ball was a blur going by third base. And out comes the Rays skipper, Kevin Cash, to talk this one over. Oh, my.
Yeah, it looked like it may have caught the outer fifth.
Fair by the slimmest of margins.
I mean the slimmest. And you can see a little indent in that chalk line. I mean, just so very tiny, but I mean, he caught it by a hair.
You know, these are the interesting conversations you love to be able to eavesdrop on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just to get a, number one, to get the tone and then the actual transcript of what's going on. It will be a double for Reimold, and it was just fair. Now we're going to get a little conference going.
And watch this. Just catch the outside of the chalk right there. And you can see the chalk kick up. However small, it kicked up. That ball caught just the outside piece.
And I guess Cash is convinced them to at least talk it over and see if somebody had another angle on it. And that's Dale Scott taking charge out there right now. Well, the Rays get a run in the bottom of the third, and right here in the fourth, the leadoff double gives Baltimore their first scoring opportunity. Now the danger is Manny Machado. He's hitting .299 with men in scoring position, and he's maintained a very impressive batting average with runners in scoring position all year. Sometimes those tend to fluctuate, but he's been very consistent. Did he go? And no. So Sean Barber down at first. Pretty close right there.
Yeah, he started to fire those hips, but was able to keep the bat back, and now has worked himself into a 2-0 count here against Matt Moore.
Matt out of the stretch for the first time in this game, and he's missed on 3 straight pitches.
Well, and you know, listen, you're out of the windup for the first, what time is it? So the last 45 minutes or so, you've worked nothing but out of the windup. Maybe a few cursory pitches out of the stretch in between innings, but nothing during the game.
Machado swinging 3-0 and fouls the fastball. 3-1.
Well, found the strike zone there, made a better pitch there, and is just going to need to continue to do that. In a spot here, you've got a lead. This is really where you have to keep it one pitch at a time and not think about the results. Think about executing a pitch.
How about that right there? 3-1 breaking ball.
Yeah, I mean, you've got an aggressive hitter at the plate. You've got a runner in scoring position. You know he wants to swing. He just fouled off a heater, so show him something that's similar. Spin it tight and get a swing and a miss.
You know what's as impressive as that pitch is the mindset to go 3-1 with that breaking ball.
Especially working with a very young catcher.
Popped up. Longoria even with a bag at third, and he comes back with a breaker and gets him.
Well, you've got a guy that's been successful in these situations, and you go 3-1 hook, 3-2 hook. And that was where the 3-1 hook set it all up, because at that point, after the swing and miss, Manny Machado has to say to himself, well, if he just threw me a 3-1 hook, what? I mean, he could come with anything now. Certainly he would have thrown me a fastball 3-1, and then you get him out in front, you get a weak little pop-up.
Well, the dangerous hitter here, Chris Davis, who struck out his first time. Fouls a fastball, strike one.
And that fastball is jumping on Chris Davis. Good job with the first pitch strikes, but that swing, Davis was tardy. He was late on a couple of swings in his first at-bat. Matt Moore picked up a strikeout.
Well, Davis hitting .294 off lefties with 10 home runs this year. 1-1 the count.
Well, most lefties going to try to work Chris Davis down and away. Those are the pitches. He has good plate coverage. Those are the pitches that he can reach and drive to center field, drive into left center. He's strong enough.
2-1.
You know, he's a guy for a lefty. You can work him away, and then you can also every once in a while surprise him with a fastball up and in. Make sure you get it at the hands.
Misses with the fastball. Now it's 3 balls and a strike. Right there you see away. He's dangerous. Down. Middle, he's dangerous. Bounds it back.
And I would venture a guess that those middle of the plate pitches that are up that he's hit for power are either hanging breaking balls or mediocre fastballs. Because if you put that ball middle of the plate up against Davis with some good velo, no shot.
Count back to 3-2 now, all the way out. The big cut, and fouls that one. Double by Reimold. Moore fell behind Machado, came back to get him, popped him up on a curveball. He's 3-2 with Davis, who just fouled off a breaking ball. Bounces this one to first. Moore will cover out there. Over to third goes Reimold. Loney to Moore, 2 gone.
This is Matt Moore making pitches, not thinking about the results, but making pitches one at a time. Gets the weak pop up, an infield ground ball. It moves the runner up, but you're 1 out away from getting out of this inning. Retire the hitter, and you can look past that leadoff double.
Well, it's a challenge here with Jones up. He struck out on the curveball his first time, but is coming into this game 11 of 21, now 11 of 22 against Moore, with a couple of home runs in that mix. Popped up, foul ball. Loney's going to give it a chase, but that's out of play. Out of his reach on top of the dugout and bounding into the seats.
Well, Matt Moore's feeling good out there with his location and his stuff. You can pitch around the edges to Adam Jones. We know that he does not like to walk. He's only got 24 on the season. I mean, you average that out over, well, not quite 6 months, but you're talking 4 or 5, a handful a month from an everyday player. So he's up there to swing.
Swing he does, and drives it back into center. Kiermaier is going to be near the track and makes the catch on the fastball. Jones skies to center. Leadoff double. They leave the runner at third. 1-0 Rays. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag #SSDataStrongFan and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Logan Forsythe struck out his first time. Loney and Souza Jr. to follow against Chris Tillman. The pitch is a strike, a fastball. Rays with a run on 2 hits. The run came on the home run by Jaso. One and one. Logan with 16 home runs and 60 runs batted in. Almost across the board career numbers for Logan Forsythe. (3-1) lifted into center field. Jones to his left makes the catch. One away. Now James Loney. Loney jumped on the first pitch in the second and lined a single into center. And after the first pitch again, and another hit. This one picked up by Raimo. So Loney's 2 for 2 off first pitch swinging here.
And how about this? With nobody on, they actually moved J.J. Hardy further up the middle. You remember the last at bat, he split the defenders. Look where J.J. Hardy is now. And so he just splits it the other way. Great job by James Loney. I'll tell you, he has had it rolling here the last couple of nights, but the Baltimore Orioles make a further shift against Loney, and he's still able to beat it.
Steven Souza Jr. takes ball one. Two balls, no strikes. Well, Loney's got a stretch now going back to the hit in his last at bat Tuesday. Now 6 of his last 7. High shot. That ball well foul, but a long way foul off the bat of Souza Jr. And it's 2-1. So Loney this year on first pitch hitting is batting .393 right now. He's at first with 1 out. So much for working the count. The way Loney's swinging the bat, first pitch.
If you feel like you can get the barrel to that baseball, there's no reason to. That may be the best pitch that you see. You know, how many times you see a guy, trying to throw a strike, he goes outer half, leaves the ball out over, take it for strike one, then he starts working the corners, and you're reaching and popping the ball out, going back to the dugout, going, best pitch I saw was the first one.
Yep.
And so be ready to hit. And if that's the case, you've got to have the discipline to not expand your area.
Runner goes. The pitch is outside for ball 4. Souza heads to first. Loney was breaking. He moves up on the walk. Well, There's some logic to that because a pitcher doesn't want to fall behind a hitter.
No.
He wants to get that first pitch strike. Now, sometimes he makes a great first pitch, and that's a strike. But there are plenty of times he's not going to make the pitch that he wants to make on that first pitch. Be ready for it. And apparently nobody's ready for it the way James Loney's ready for it.
That's why the Rays, that's why you see some of these teams against stuff guys attacking early. Guy wants to establish a fastball early. He's a stuff guy, doesn't have the greatest of command. Well, be ready for that pitch out over the plate and go to hammering it.
Tim Beckham, after the first pitch, fouls it out of play. Saw a fastball there.
But you would agree, too, that when you start to think about hitters around the league in the Rays lineup, James Loney, one of the more disciplined, has a good idea of what he wants to do, uses the whole field.
Yeah, it's interesting. Loney's really an interesting hitter because people, you think of him as a patient hitter, and we've seen him work counts. But because he is willing to swing at that first pitch, and he's done it so successfully this year, he'll be classified as an aggressive hitter. Look what he's hitting on the first pitch. But he can show you the discipline in an at-bat, I think, as well as any hitter can show you that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Disciplined hitter, you know, he's got a game plan. And he was willing to execute his game plan, not abandon it after one or two pitches. You know, a lot of guys go up there with an idea of what they want to do, and it all goes out the window if the first pitch or two doesn't go their way. James Loney willing to stay with it, up there ready to hit. If you're going to give me a first pitch fastball out over the plate, I'm going to rip it. If you don't, I'm more than willing to play along with you until you make a mistake.
A ball, 2 strikes. Beckham down 0-2 in the second. Chased a fastball up and struck out. And bounces this breaking ball foul. So a different tack by Tillman this time on it.
Well, that breaking ball could be to set that heater back. You know, we've seen guys use the elevated fastball to set up the big 12-6 hook, and then we've seen the reverse. That hook to set up the heater at the letters. We'll see if he goes that route.
And he gets him looking, and he threw him a fastball, but he chased the fastball the first time, takes it this time.
Now you chase that one that's up in the zone, but this one here, I mean, right there. That catches a lot of the plate. It's down around the knees, and Tim Beckham just gets locked up.
Yeah, that's a tough pitch.
Yeah, no argument either. I think that was one of those, you got to be kidding me, I just took that.
It's Kevin Kiermaier. And Kiermaier takes a fastball for a strike. Into center field, a liner, and that ball will be caught by Jones. A little roll in the aftermath of the grab. But he got there. The Rays will leave 2. And at the end of 4, the Rays continue to hold this 1-0 lead. Jones making the grab on the line drive by Kiermaier. is Flashback Rays Day, brought to you by Jeep. Post the best Rays vintage photo of yourself by using the hashtag #FlashbackRays. Matt Moore, through the first 4, has given up 1 hit. That was the leadoff double in the 4th by Nolan Reimold. Matt Wieters to begin the 5th, then Jonathan Scope and Steve Pearce. Pitch is a strike. Wieters caught looking at a curveball his first time and misses a fastball. Ball, 2 strikes. Moore picked up a couple strikeouts in the first, 2 more in the second inning. So 4 on the night. Wieters fouls this one.
Well, what can you say about Matt Moore as he heads into the 5th inning? Ahead in the count once again, something that he's been doing all game long. So efficient the first 3 innings, gives up the leadoff double to start the 4th, immediately goes to the stretch in trouble and just makes pitches and gets out of that, retires the next 3 hitters, and right back to work here in the 5th.
That's a close pitch there, fastball in, and now it's 2-2. Well, Matt, with 8 prior starts, he'd gone as many as 5 innings 3 times. Five innings against Boston and 95 pitches his last time. That pitch count is high. He was touched for 6 earned runs, 8 total in the 5 innings he worked. Strikes out Wieters on the fastball.
Well, you get a hitter into swing mode, and then all of a sudden you say, I'm going to go to the fringes of the strike zone. Matt Wieters fouling off some tough pitches, and then Matt Moore goes, okay, how about I elevate one away from you? Forget it. Can't get up to it. This ball tonight, the radar gun may say 93. The swings are saying 95, 96. That ball is jumping out of the hand, and these hitters not picking it up.
Scope going after the first pitch, fouling it away, strike 1. It's 1-1. Moore came back from his rehab assignments on the 2nd of July. That was against Cleveland. And eventually wound up going back to Durham. Still a ball, 2 strikes. Made 6 starts initially, and then went to Durham and came back for that start against the Yankees, 1 against the Red Sox, now tonight against Baltimore. Count goes to 2-2. And through the first 4, he had made only 49 pitches. That's the other side of this outing for him so far.
The efficiency with which he's worked, and that you can trace that back to early in the count strikes, to pitching from in front.
Into short right. That will drop. Souza Jr. makes the pickup. And Jonathan Schoop has extended his hitting streak to double figures. A 10-game hitting streak for Schoop.
Well, another young player here for the Orioles having a nice season. Getting that opportunity every day out at second base. And this is a team that's got some questions to answer going forward into the offseason. Schoop obviously going to be a part of the future.
Steve Pearce. One ball, no strikes. Back out of play on a fastball. It's 1-1. Pierce has shown himself to be a valuable part of this team. He's got some pop at the bat, and he can play almost any place. In fact, he played a game at shortstop in the minor leagues. It's 1-2. Spent some time on the disabled list and had a rehab assignment. Let's take a look at that breaking pitch.
Steve Pearce upset with himself. He didn't take a cut at that. That ball kind of hung out over the plate. There hasn't been too many of those today by Matt Moore. At least none taken advantage of by Oriole hitters.
Pearce misses the fastball.
I'm telling you, it's just been invisible here tonight. The swings are saying harder than the velocity. That pitch out over the plate, 93 miles an hour, and completely blown by Steve Pearce.
J.J. Hardy over to first, and Schoop is back in. Upstairs. Picks up the zone with a fastball, 1-1. Two outs, Schoop at first. Schoop picking up the second hit allowed by Matt Moore. Matt retired the first 9 men to face him and made 21 pitches the first time, or 31 pitches the first time through, but of those, the last 20 were strikes. He had that stretch of 20 out of 21 strikes. And now he's 2-2 with Hardy. Going to run the count full. Matt had a couple of full counts when he went to the stretch in the 4th inning. First time he's gone to 3-2 since then. 2 outs now in the 5th. And again out of the stretch. Lifted into shallow right. Souza Jr. waiting. He's got it. No runs, a hit, 1 left. through 4.5. 1-0 Rays.
Rays goaltending members who enter the stadium using their Rays cards, their ticket for entered in the Tap to Win contest.
Game homestand comes to a wrap on Sunday afternoon. It will be Jake Odorizzi on the mound for the Rays. And for the youngsters 14 and under, they will get this knit cap with the burst on it. So there you go. The knit cap will be handed out to kids 14 and under while supplies last. Go to 888, call 888-FAN-RAYS or go to RaysBaseball.com to watch the final game of this 4-game series between the Rays and the Orioles. Not a lot of days in Florida you would need the knit cap, but lots of travel involved, maybe a ski trip. Knit cap comes in handy, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, you're right. There might be a couple of days in January. You could use that, put it to good use. And he's right about there's always a trip or two where you could just put that in the duffel bag and it's right there when you need it.
And sometimes it just becomes a fashion statement. It becomes, hey, it's not nearly cold enough for this, but boy, do I look cool.
Yeah.
And I'm 12.
2-1 the count on Luke Maile leading off the bottom of the 5th. Rays got a run on a home run in the 3rd from John Jaso. There's a shot to center field. Adam Jones going back at the track, and he hauls it in. Maile gave it a pretty good ride back there on the Tillman fastball.
These are a couple of center fielders in this series that you want to stay away from challenging. If you're going to go to center, you keep it low and hard and bounce it in front of them, or you better get it over the wall. These guys covered ground. Talking about Adam Jones and Kevin Kiermaier, two of the best in the game, and enjoy that bubble there as he's trying to track that ball down. Multitasker.
Jones already victimized Kiermaier, something Kevin has done so often this year to opposing hitters. I think when Kiermaier hit that line drive into 4th, he thought he might have had a base hit and the run batted in. Jones made the catch on that liner to end the 4th. 1 out in the 5th. John Jaso ahead in the count, 2-0. Hit a ball that stuck on the C ring in the 3rd inning. Takes a big cut. 2-1. Here's the home run.
Watch it bounce.
Just stay right up there.
There it is.
Stays wide, a curveball, and the count is full. So forcing another 3-2 pitch with that foul ball. Geyer on deck. Down to first. Pierce makes the play by himself. 2 up and 2 down in the 5th inning.
Number 5, Brandon Geyer.
Brandon Geyer is 0 for 2 tonight. Six home runs on the year for the Rays outfielder. The pitch is a strike. Two. Evan Longoria on deck. Geyer now counting the 0 for 2 tonight, 3 of 10 in his career against Tillman. So foul ball skipping out of play just before it arrives at the bullpen. Into center field. It's Jones back there making the catch, and the Rays are out 1-2-3, and we're headed into inning 6. 1-0 Tampa Bay. John Janso's home run in the 3rd inning, the only scoring of this game, as he parked it on the C ring in right field. And Matt Moore and Chris Tillman battling it out.
Yeah, how much better can Matt Moore be? 5 innings, he's given up 2 hits, has not walked anybody. That's the big number right there. The 0 with the walks, no runs, 6 strikeouts. He's been efficient. A couple of times he's worked out of the stretch. He's made big pitches out of the stretch. And right now, the beneficiary of a 1-run lead.
And on to the 6th with Dario Alvarez, the number 9 hitter, leading off. Then Nolan Reimold and Manny Machado. 72 pitches, 52 strikes. Fly ball to the opposite field. Souza Jr. toward the line in the corner makes the catch for the first out. So one pitch, one out.
Well, you cannot beat that. You start to get into the later innings, the sixth, the one-run game. Continue efficiency. 73 pitches for Matt Moore.
Well, he's trying to get beyond 5, and he's done that here tonight, and he's done it in style. So the third time through the order here, he throws a strike to Reimold. Reimold has 1 of 2 hits allowed by Moore, and he has not walked anybody. Six strikeouts for Matt. Backing out of play. The fastball's been pretty steady there. 92, 93. I think we've seen him at 94.
That pitch around the zone. The curveball, for the most part, has been sharp. We've seen a few changeups. Some of the counts he's thrown him in has been actually more impressive than the actual pitch.
And there is a ball that just missed. 2-2. Pitch appeared to be right there on the corner. Now this one is going to do the job. Curveball, cut and a miss. 7 strikeouts now. As promised earlier, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag #SSDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Manny Machado. Pitch is too low. Machado's gone out pitcher first and has popped to third. And the curveball's in there. Moore made some good pitches to Machado after giving up the leadoff double in the fourth to Reimold and falling behind Machado 3-1, and then worked him with a curveball to get him on a pop-up. He's staying with that here and is up in the count 1-2.
And when you do something like that to a hitter, he doesn't forget. And he will carry that with him the rest of the game. This guy went 3-1 hook, 3-2 hook. You can't help but remember a sequence like that, and that just helps you out down the road.
Fouls the fastball back. That went in at 94.
And guess what? Matt Moore can go one of two ways here. He can go another 2, 3, 4 inches up with a heater in this count, or that pitch will set up that hook. He can go right back to the hook here. He's got the choice.
Into the dirt. So that will take the count to 2-2.
One of the few curveballs that Matt Moore has been non-competitive with. He bounced that one far too early, but the idea was right. You get a guy swinging at that heater up, and you've already had success with him with that curveball. It's been sharp. Good spin on it tonight. Do it again.
2-2. And he gets a ground ball to short. Beckham takes care of that. And on the curveball, he ends the top of the 6th. 1-0 Tampa Bay.
the 6th. The question of the season, has Chris Archer made more of an impact on or off the field? Earlier today, before the game, he was recognized as the Rays nominee to be considered for the Roberto Clemente Award. He lived up to that nomination once again earlier this afternoon, where he donated more than $14,000 in new baseball, football, and fitness equipment. He teamed up with Good Sports and the Rays to give all of that to Middleton High School. You can vote for Chris Archer to be the National Roberto Clemente Award winner on ChevyBaseball.com by October 9th.
An honor just to be nominated in the memory of Roberto Clemente.
You ever get the feeling that Chris Archer's day has 30 hours in it?
Yes. It seems that it has to.
I mean,
home, road. And by the way, every takes his turn, rotation, goes out and pitches.
Right. And does that at an extremely high level. I think he's talking to us.
Yeah, we're watching you. Maybe he's watching us.
I think he told us to watch the game. Quit talking about him and watch the game. See?
Yeah. See, we're watching him.
Too good.
1-2 to Evan. 2-2. Rays got a run in the third on the home run by John Jaso. Ball 4, 3-2. Yeah, there might be too many cameras for him to keep track of. Yeah, we're going to find you. And we're not going to miss a play.
Find the red light.
There
I mean, he doesn't miss it.
Evan reaching for this one. Out on strikes. One away in the 6th.
Number 11, Logan Forsythe.
Haven't seen a ton of the slider from Chris Tillman tonight, but that one of the better ones.
Yeah, that's about the 4th pitch down the line in his arsenal.
You think about the fastball, curveball combo, changeup, and then that slider, and that was a dandy.
Ground ball, that's just fouled outside of third off the bat of Forsythe, and the Rays are thinking, hey, might have hit just a little particle of the chalk line.
You going to put C.B. Buckner on the spot again?
Nolan Reimold got that double in the 4th and just did get a little bit of the chalk line. 0-2 to Logan. Logan went down swinging in the 2nd. Hit a fly ball to center in the 4th. And fastball 0-2. Fouled it back.
You may see another slider right here. That fastball away from Logan Forsythe with this count, and you get that swing. If you could duplicate that slider that he threw to Longoria, and that looks like what they're going to try and do.
And it's a bit wide.
And just yanked it. You know, that it's amazing that this game comes down to execution. Whether you're the hitter, a fielder on a ball that's hit to you, or a pitcher picking out a pitch and a spot. You can have the right pitch, the right spot. It sets up well, but you've got to do it. That's the thing. That's the separator.
Yeah, and I've come to believe, watching all this, that whatever pitch you're going to throw, as opposed to why did you throw him that pitch, it's a well executed pitch as opposed to the selection of the pitch.
And that comes down to conviction.
Yep.
I mean, it comes down to conviction. It may not. I've always been a firm believer, and I would rather throw the wrong pitch with conviction than the right pitch wishy-washy in the mind. Because the pitch where you're going back and forth in the middle of your delivery, you're typically backing up a base or asking for a new ball. I mean, that's just the way that it goes. But it may not have set up very well for this particular pitch, but if you believe in it and you execute it and you make it work, a lot of times it's going to work out for you.
Yep. I mean, if you execute a pitch, it's tough to hit. I don't care what the count is. If you can execute your pitches, you're going to come up a winner the majority and the vast majority of the time. 2-2 here. Forsythe getting down, and now has battled back with the count even and has extended this. It's an 8-pitch at bat so far. Pops it up. That'll be a foul ball. Pierce is after it and will make the play. 2 gone in the Rays' 6th in the game tonight and all season. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Well, James Loney has seen 2 pitches tonight. He's 2 for 2. And that's been the trend for him, and a very good trend.
And there's no reason to break precedent. Although if I'm Chris Tillman, I'm going to spin in a curveball on the outer half and try to get ahead of him strike 1.
And they have a major shift on for him. And he's after the first pitch. Missed the off-speed pitch.
Well, or that right there. A nice changeup by Tillman. These are the little bits of information that you learn and make adjustments as a game moves on.
Time granted by Lance Barrett, the young umpire. This time it's up the left field line. Fair toward the corner. And Loney's on his way to second with a double. Well, on the second pitch this time, he's seen 4 pitches tonight and is 3 for 3.
With 4 swings. Here's a breaking ball. They wanted this down and in. It stays down and out over, and James Loney's just able to slice it into left field and pick up another extra base hit. James Loney wasting no time.
So Loney with the extra base hit puts himself out there in scoring position with 2 gone for Steven Souza Jr., who's been hit by a pitch and has walked. And strike 1. Just a slider. Fouls a fastball. And quickly behind 0-2. Fouled back. Well, the Rays in dropping that 3-1 decision to the Yankees last night went 0 for 9 with men in scoring position. They're 0 for 4 tonight with runners in scoring position. A 2-strike count. That's wide. A ball, 2 strikes. And enough of that one to stay alive. You know, coming into this game tonight, in their last 5 games, the Rays are only 2 for 30 with men in scoring position.
Yeah, you just can't win. You just cannot win with those types of numbers, and they really haven't done a whole lot of that lately. You know, you understand you're going to be pitched a little bit tougher, but 2 for 30 just is not going to get it done. I think everybody'd agree with that.
No pitch. Time had been called on the 1-2 pitch.
So to whose benefit is that? I know Tillman's upset, but that was also a center cut fastball that could have been hit 450 feet.
It didn't happen.
Nope, never happened.
And it counts a ball, 2 strikes. Tillman at 100 pitches right now, plus that phantom pitch. And we're going to see a 1-2 again. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
But that's where, as a pitcher, when time gets called that late and you're going with that fastball and you now throw it, you say to yourself, well, now do I come back with that? I just told him what I was going to do in that situation. Do I do it again, or do I mix it up? That's the question you ask yourself, and why you're so frustrated getting back on the mound. Now what?
Whatever you throw, you execute the pitch, and you're good.
Well, that was not executed. Actually, neither one were.
2-2, and now it's 3-2. Slider wide.
This is close.
Yes, it is. Loney on second, 2 outs. 3-2. It's bounce foul. So a 3-2 pitch again about to be made. Chris Tillman to Steven Souza Jr. Upstairs, and he walked him. Souza reaching for the 3rd time. Dave Wallace will head to the mound. Taz Rowe up in the bullpen for Baltimore. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. The pregame shows presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Bruce Smiley will be on the hill for the Rays. We'll hear from him, and Doug Wechter will take a close look and break down Mikey Montauk, who's getting some playing time in recent days and responding, earning himself a few starts here in September.
Yeah, that's the key, the earning. I mean, they're well deserved. You know, he had a streak where the Rays were facing a lot of left-handed pitchers, which put him in the lineup. He was productive. Got a couple of starts against righties. Same thing.
Well, here's Tim Beckham. Twice has struck out on a fastball. He chased one up in the 2nd inning and was called out on strikes on a fastball in the 4th.
I mean, do it for the Sox, baby. The 2-1s.
Snap throw down to first. The ball popping loose. Loney's going to advance to 3rd. Souza diving back to 1st and a little slow in getting up.
That ball was a rocket shot by Wieters, and it drilled Souza. That's what kept that ball in the infield. So he's walked a couple of times. He's been hit by a pitch and hit by a throw. And this catches him clean. Oof.
So the Rays will come out of this with men at 1st and 3rd. Rotating that arm.
This may not have anything to do with the ball hit. The ball hitting him could have been the dive back into the bag.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
You're scrambling back and you dive and you land a little bit goofy. You see the ball hit him down by the hip. I mean, this poor guy's beat to pieces. You want to keep him on the field here till the end of the season.
1-0 the count on Beckham. Will be an error charged to Wieters on the move up of Loney from second to third. Off the plate, 2-0. Left-hander Mattis also up in the bullpen. It's Rowe and Mattis down there for Baltimore. It's foul out of play. 2-1. And a ground ball that's deflected off the glove of Tillman. Run will score. Everybody's safe, and it's 2-0. A broken bat. Tillman saw it deflect off his glove.
Yeah, and you go back to the throw that hit Souza Jr. and then a broken bat, which should have been the end of the inning. And Chris Tillman cannot make the play. The ball deflects into no man's land. Loney on the move up is able to score. That should have been it right there.
Well, the Rays make it a 2-0 game and a pitching change coming. Brought to you by Grow Financial. Don't go through life, grow through life. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Checkers. Epic meals, epic deals. Tim Beckham reaching. He's at first. Souza Jr.'s at second. The left-hander Mattis now in the game. And the first pitch fouled away by Kevin Kiermaier. Strike one. Ryan Mattis on for the 54th time.
54 strikeouts in 47 innings. That opponent's average 199.
Puts Kiermaier behind in the count.
Man, late breaking ball right there. 83, 84 miles an hour. Had good depth to it. You wouldn't be surprised to see him go right back to that pitch after that swing.
Little tap to the right side. Pierce cannot get there. Safe. Now Nance trying to score. He is safe. Souza got his hand on the plate, and the Rays make it a 3-0 game. Well, some speed and small ball there as it turned out. Kiermaier with an infield hit. Souza just kept the burners going and makes it 3-0.
Rays aggressive on the base paths with the lead, and Kevin Kiermaier again. The idea of, listen, a tough pitcher, 2 strikes, just put the ball in play and give yourself a chance. His speed beats it, and Souza, you're right, never slowed down coming around third, and a good job of avoiding any type of a tag and reaching back and catching home plate with the left hand.
So the Rays make it a 3-run lead here in the 6th, and another pitching change. Well, Luke Maile is the hitter. Chaz Rowe in the game. Right on right here. The first pitch is a strike. Rays send their 7th hitter to the plate here in the 6th inning.
Well, and after 2 quick outs for Chris Tillman, it has started to unravel. The Rays now lead by 3. Still 2 runners aboard. Still hitting.
0-2 the count on Maile.
Well, think about the last couple of hits. Tip Beckham with a broken bat off the glove of Chris Tillman. Kevin Kiermaier down 0-2. A tough breaking ball from Mattis just puts it into play. Lets his speed get the hit. Not only that, but Souza to score.
So the Rays have 3 runs, 6 hits. Maile started to go, but checked in time. It's now 1-2. And Maile is out on strikes to retire the side, but the Rays come up with 2. Speed a big part of that one. And the Rays at the end of 6 lead 3-0. 0-0. Let's take a look at our Toyota trends here with Chris Davis preparing to lead off. Players to lead the major leagues in home runs and strikeouts in a single season since 1980. You got to be pretty good to get on that list.
Like Chris Davis, 42 homers, leading the way with the strikeouts. Still got some games to play.
Yeah, he has a strikeout tonight, so that's 193.
He's going two Bills plus.
You know, the year he hit 53 home runs, he struck out 199 times that year.
He may go to 200 in this series.
Lifts a fly ball into short left, and there to catch it is Geyer. Boy, nice to get him out on one pitch. One out into the 7th inning for Matt Moore.
And how many times has Matt Moore done that? Leading off an inning, one pitch, one out, at least the last couple.
Well, he got Alvarez on the first pitch in the 6th inning. So he's trying to set a little trend of his own here in the 6th and 7th. One pitch, one out. 85 pitches. One out into the 7th. And here's Adam Jones. And the first pitch strike. Well, we had that 2nd inning when he made 10 pitches, all strikes, and had a run of 21 pitches, 20 strikes. That's been the kind of night he's had. 0-2 on Jones. Alex Colomé up in the bullpen. And a cut and a miss. He strikes out Jones on 3 pitches.
Changed his eye level. Fastball, strike 1. He went way down in the zone for strike 2 and then popped it right back up for strike 3. Short work of Adam Jones, and here's your finishing pitch.
And that's been the case all night. He's had 3 at-bats. He's seen 9 pitches, 9 strikes, and he's 0 for 3. Now Matt Wieters. Wieters 0 for 2, a couple of strikeouts. Curveball misses on the first pitch, 1-0. One and one. That fastball still at 93 as he reaches 90 pitches.
Look at that breakout. 65-25. That is complete and utter command of the strike zone.
Strike 2.
And they haven't been just strikes. We talk about strikes, quality strikes. Majority of those 65 have been quality strikes. And that's why you see the big 0 up there for Baltimore and the efficient night so far for Matt Moore.
Leaves this one wide. Curveball that stayed out there. 2-2 now on Wieters. Moore's previous high this year for strikeouts 4. And he has 8 right now. Make that 9. Swing and a miss. 3rd time tonight Wieters has struck out. He got him on a fastball. 3-0 Rays. Inning, head out to Tropicana Field Saturday when the Rays take on the Orioles, and all fans receive the Jake Odorizzi bobblehead, sponsored by Suncoast Credit Union while supplies last. And after the game, stick around for the post-game concert by Sister Hazel. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. John Jaso opens the bottom half of the seventh. It's a high chopper, and Rowe makes a little toss to Pierce. So Jaso, who had homered back in the third inning, is out on the first pitch in the seventh. Geyer 0 for 3. Pitch is low. Rowe came on, got the strikeout of Maile to end the sixth when the Rays added 2 runs. Geyer skies it to center. Jones is there and runs it down. So 2 outs.
Number 3, Evan Longoria.
Base is empty for Evan Longoria. Evan looks for his first hit of the night. Pitch is in there for a strike. Tillman 5 2/3, charged with all 3 runs, all earned on 5 hits. He's got 1 hit off Mattis. That was the infield hit by Kiermaier that resulted in a run. Oh, 2. Rays have double barrel action in the bullpen. Brandon Gomes in the game and are in the bullpen, and Alex Colomé. So it's Gomes and Colomé. It was Gomes who picked up the save in the game on Tuesday in the 6-3 win over New York.
And you wonder with both guys, still going at it now, if that doesn't spell the end for Matt Moore's night. You would assume so.
That is strike 3 call, and the Rays are up and down 1-2-3. So it's on to the 8th with the Rays leading 3-0.
here tonight, just pounding the strike zone. 7 innings, 2 hits. You know, there's a lot of games where we see a guy throw a line like this and wonder why he came out of the game, you know, when he had such an efficient pitch count. But I love this move. I mean, Matt Moore, you leave him with a very good feeling. I mean, look at that. Didn't walk anybody. 9 strikeouts. We haven't seen Matt Moore this good in a long, long time. And what a way for him to end this ball game as he goes down. He's going to get his hand shaken here by manager Kevin Cash right there, letting him know that his night is over. And I love this call. Get the bullpen in and leave Matt Moore feeling good about himself. And that breakout, you really couldn't make it any better. 93 pitches, 67 to 26. I mean, that is off the charts. We talked early about pounding the zone. That's taken it to a new level there for Matt Moore.
And he was that way from the very beginning. He came out throwing strikes and threw strikes all night. Now Alex Colomé in the game, and the first pitch is a fastball fouled back by Jonathan Schoop. Colomé, 37th appearance, and boy, has he been something special out of the bullpen.
You watch the transformation from starter to, you know, a guy coming out in the middle of ball games. Now he's getting more of the high leverage work towards the end of ball games, and he's acclimated himself quite well.
It's a ball and a strike count.
And he's one of those guys, too, that you don't want to go ask him if he's able to go tonight. You know what his answer is. If he's not going to pitch, you just have to tell him you're down tonight. He wants to be out there. He loves this new role that he's in. And he's throwing the heck out of the ball.
Up the middle, there's a base hit for Schoop. So he had extended his hitting streak to 10 in the 5th and picks up another hit to open the 8th. Second time tonight the Orioles have put the leadoff man on base. First time was back in the 4th after Matt Moore had retired the first 9 to face him. And Ramos doubled. He got that 2-base hit up the left field line just fair by a few particles of chalk. And then Moore retired Machado, Davis, and Jones. Well, here's Pierce, and the pitch off the mitt of Maile, and down to second base goes Schoop.
That was a fastball by Colomé that he just yanked. I mean, he just trying to go down and away, yanks that. Maile not able to corral it.
So it scored a wild pitch, moving the runner up to second. Two and 0. Colomé is behind Pierce 3-0. Oliver Drake in the bullpen for Baltimore. That's a strike. 3-1, a fastball.
Well, and Colomé, one of those pitchers that you fall behind 3-0, not ideal, but he's got the stuff to be able to come back and retire the hitter. He can challenge guys even when he's behind in the count. Don't want to make a habit of it, but from time to time, if you have to, it's something that he can pitch his way out of.
Line drive into left, catchable, grabbed by Geyer. Quick throw back to second, but Schoop is back in there. One out with that man at second. Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by Hotel Transylvania 2 in theaters September 25th by Kubota. To find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. and by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. That's J.J. Hardy, the Baltimore shortstop. Colomé throws him a first pitch strike. Ball game in the top half of the 8th. Tapper, third base side. That'll be a foul ball. And advances it to an 0-2 count. Gerardo Parra on deck. Rays trying to get even in the season series. They're 7-8 against Baltimore. And a cut and a miss. Hardy out on strikes. 2 gone.
Those are the kind of pitches you can get a guy to swing at when you're way up in the count. A slider that starts out at the knees and he breaks just beyond the plate. And still, J.J. Hardy is not able to hold up.
Your attention, please. Pinch hitting for Alvarez, number 18, Gerardo Parra.
Now here's Parra to pinch hit for Alvarez. Pitch is upstairs. Scopes the runner at second. He's singled. It was wild pitched up to second. He's there with 2 gone. Parra lines it into right. 1 hop in front of Souza Jr. And the throw will come to the plate. Holding at third is Scope.
And wisely so. That ball got out to Souza. Souza charging it. He's going to come up firing. Look at him charge that ball. Get it on 1 hop. Put himself in good position to throw.
Baltimore putting men at first and third. Souza Jr. charging that line drive and then getting rid of it quickly toward the plate. So first and third, Baltimore. Jim Hickey spending some time out there on the hill. And the Orioles are going to go to the bench again. Steve Clevenger will pinch hit for Reimold.
And you know, this is a guy that Alex Colomé may not have prepared for coming into this ball game, being a pinch hitter. And so that's why Jim Hickey's going to head out there and say, hey, just in case, this is how we're going to attack this guy.
Coming up on Rays Live, the post game presented by Checkers. Todd and Doug anchored the coverage. We'll hear from Kevin Cash on the post game manager's press conference, and Emily Austin along with interviews from the clubhouse. Clevenger takes a first pitch strike, fastball in around 93. Clevenger spent the better part of the year at AAA Norfolk and hit .275 there with 16 home runs. He has some pop. Bounces it foul. 0-2.
And I would be shocked right now if Clevenger saw any fastball anywhere near the plate. If you're going to throw the fastball here, you use it to expand the zone. You could go with your changeup. You could go with the slider below the zone. A lot of options here for Colomé, being up 0-2. But that fastball around the fringes of the zone or even further off.
Up and away. 1-2. Couple of base hits here. First and third. Drake joined by Brad Brock in the Baltimore bullpen. Line drive into right. That's going to be in for a base hit. Scoring Scope. Base hit and a pinch hit roll for Clevenger. And the Orioles are on the board. It's 3-1.
Clevenger able to take advantage of a breaking ball that was just rolling into the zone. Here's the slider. Just kind of not a whole lot of life on that pitch. And that allowed Clevenger to get that ball out into right field. The Orioles plate their first run and keep this inning going.
Ron Flaherty's going to run now for Clevenger.
He's running for Baltimore, number 3, Ryan Flaherty.
So they have Parra at second base and Flaherty now at first. And the hitter is Manny Machado. As we mentioned at the outset, he has been tough with men in scoring position this year. It's been a season-long situation. First pitch is a strike. Well, the 2 runs the Rays added in the 6th have certainly come in handy here. One and one. And that's Chris Davis on deck.
Keep him there.
Machado now down in the count, 1-2.
Get on the side of the baseball and cut that thing away 90, 91 miles an hour. Machado missed it by plenty.
A 1-2. Line drive, short left, charged by Geyer. Parra is headed to the plate. Throw cut off. It's 3-2. So Machado drives in the run.
Well, and that one didn't get far enough away. You know, Colomé threw the previous pitch. He missed it by plenty. Same idea here, but Machado able to go out and get around this one. And he just soft serves it out into left field. And you're running with 2 outs, able to come around and score, and the Orioles just will not go away.
Machado driving in his 74th run. And the lead stands at just 1 right now. Flaherty at second. And Chris Davis at the plate. 2 men on, 2 men out. 2 runs have scored. Cut and a miss. Davis has struck out, grounded out to first, and hit a fly ball into left. Into the dirt. Both runners will move up. Second and third now.
Unfortunate there for the Rays. Now you got two runners in scoring position in a one-run game. That ball gets spiked. It's a changeup again. Second changeup in a row, well out in front of the plate, and Maile, it gets up right in between the legs, off the glove, and just kind of rattles enough that the Orioles are able to move up 90 feet each.
So two wild pitches in this inning. Second and third. The count is 1-1. Two and one.
You know, we're 24 pitches into this inning with Colomé. He's worked now 4 out of the last 5 days. That's a pretty heavy workload.
You know, he had 3 in a row and it was off the last game.
Yep. And now they're going to put Davis on and load him up. Things have gotten a little weird here in the 8th.
So 2 runs have scored. The bases are going to be loaded with the intentional walk. And the hitter will be Adam Jones. That's Kirby Yates
Center fielder
up in the
Adam
bullpen.
Jones.
So it's Colomé against Jones right now. You know, the interesting thing about these matchups, Davis was 0 for 6 against Colomé, and Jones 0 for 8. So that's a trend the Rays are counting on in this situation. Liner into right on the first pitch, a base hit. 1 run is in. Another man to the plate, and he is safe. Machado scores the go-ahead run, and it's 4-3 Baltimore.
Are you kidding me? That was not even a swing by Adam Jones, but that's what happens. You know, you get yourself into these situations, and sometimes the goofiest things can happen, and here it is. Ball up, and look at Adam Jones. What? I mean, a little half swing, just kind of, wish he checked it, and instead it's going to be a 2-run RBI single into right field, and Baltimore has come all the way back. Are you kidding me?
So a 4-run 8th on 5 hits, and Matt Wieters will be the 9th Baltimore hitter to step to the plate in the 8th. Upstairs 1-0. Colomé behind Wieters, 2-0. The inning started on the base hit by Scope, and then the next 2 hitters were retired. Since then, 5 men have reached in succession. Colomé behind Wieters, 2-0. That's a strike. 2-1, a fastball. That's a strike, 2-2. Rays got a run in the third, 2 in the sixth, and Baltimore putting up 4 in the eighth. Into the dirt, and it's a full count. 32 pitches for Colomé here in the eighth. Clevenger drove in a run, Machado drove in 1. Jones drove in 2. And a swing and a miss. Wieters out on strikes. 9 men come to the plate. Baltimore scores 4-3. Tonight's game summary brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source through 7. Very good. The eighth, something else. A 4-run eighth, 33 pitches thrown by Colomé in the eighth after Matt Moore made 93 pitches through 7 of shutout baseball. And now it's 4-3 as the Rays come into bat in the bottom of the eighth. They'll face Brad Brock. And leading it off is Logan Forsythe. He takes the pitch for a strike. Steve Pearce goes from first to left field. Parra, who pinch hit, stays on to play right. Ryan Flaherty is the new first baseman after coming on to run. It's 1-1 to count. The new pitcher is Brad Brock, making his 55th appearance. One and two.
Brad Brock, one of those guys. You know, Buck Showalter loves the guys coming out of the bullpen that, number one, have good stuff, but they give you different looks. You think of Darren O'Day, Brad Brock, a little crossfire action with that lower three-quarter arm angle.
Now 2-2.
Well, you got your work cut out for you here. Seemingly game in hand after the performance of Matt Moore. The back end of the Rays bullpen coming in. It's turned quickly. And now you've got little time to get something going.
Forsythe fouls that one, a little piece of it. So Brock's in the game right now. It's Rowe and Colomé, the pitchers of record. Forsythe, Loney, and Souza Jr. due up for the Rays against Brock. And Brock strikes out Forsythe.
Boy, a low riding fastball at 94 miles an hour. Brock is able to just power this thing right to the outside corner. Boy, tough pitch.
James Loney up here, 3 for 3 tonight. Pitch is down, 1 ball, no strikes. Liner in the center. This one is going to hang up and be caught by Jones. So Adam Jones runs under that one. 2 outs in the 8th.
Right fielder, number 20, Steven Souza Jr.
Here is Steven Souza Jr. Yates up, and he's been joined by Boxberger. Souza fouls it. Souza hit by a pitch in the 2nd. He walked in the 4th, walked again, and scored in the 6th inning. He scored from 2nd on the infield hit by Kiermaier. Speed all around there. One and one. Two balls and a strike. Three and one. The Rays seemingly had this one well in hand, leading 3-0 going into the top of the 8th. Baltimore had come up with just 2 hits through the front 7. And Matt Moore, who was very good tonight, 2-hit baseball through 7, no walks, 9 strikeouts, 93 pitches, 67 strikes. He just couldn't have been much better than Matt Moore was tonight. Seemingly in line for a win, and now he's out of this game. Souza's on base again. Souza walks for the 3rd straight time, on base for the 4th time. And now Grady Sizemore will pinch hit for Beckham. Base runner at first with 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 8th. The Rays are down by 1 run. And now it's Sizemore against Brock. Souza's back in at first. It's a strike. Ground ball, right side. Scope in short right, out of the shift, throws him out. The Rays leave a man in the eighth, and we go to the ninth. 4-3 Baltimore. Instant analysis and live look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Nick Franklin enters the game at shortstop. Beckham lifted for the pinch hitter. And on the hill, right-hander Kirby Yates. He'll be facing Jonathan Scope to open the ninth. He opened the eighth inning with a base hit and is 2 for 3 tonight. Yates is on and pitcher number 3. Yates takes that first pitch and misses outside with it. Riefenhauser up in the bullpen. Two and 0. Yates last worked Saturday in the Boston series. 2-1. Pitched 1 inning. Gave up a walk and hit a man. Ball out of play by Scope. Steve Pearce is on deck. And then the shortstop Hardy. Darren O'Day up in the bullpen down the left field line. Pitch inside. It's 3-2. ball, right center. Souza Jr. is right there in front of the track to make the catch. One away in the ninth.
Left fielder, Steve Pearce.
And Steve Pearce. Pearce 0 for 3. It's a strike. Tap to third, fair. Grabbed by Ligorian. A nice play right there to get Pearce. 2 gone. Nicely done by Evan down at third base.
All in one motion. You get to it on the short hop and watch how quickly he gets rid of it. I mean, that's about as quick as you can do it. And right on the money.
It's J.J. Hardy. It's a strike. Oh, 2. Moore for 7, Colomé for 1, and Yates 2 outs into the ninth with a 2-strike count on J.J. Hardy. Did he go? He did not. It's 1 and 2.
Breaking ball down early. J.J. Hardy, a good check there. Kirby Yates, he has been sharp so far in this inning. That's what the Rays needed. Hold this to 1 run. Looks like you're going to get a shot at Darren O'Day as opposed to Zach Britton in the bottom half of the ninth.
Fly ball right field. In comes Souza Jr. to make the catch. So the Rays will go into the bottom half of the ninth down by a run. Kevin Kiermaier is going to lead it off. This game moves into the bottom of the ninth, and the Rays are down by a run. Kevin Kiermaier will open the bottom of the ninth. Darren O'Day is pitcher number 5, makes his 61st appearance.
Well, the Rays quite familiar with Darren O'Day. 71 strikeouts in 57 1/3 innings, but they have had success off this side-winding, submarining righty.
Well, here's Kiermaier in the first pitch. A wave and a miss, strike one. Kiermaier had the infield hit in the 6th inning. 2 for 3 against O'Day. Counts 0-2.
Just a perfect pitch there by O'Day. That he gives you the odd arm angle already. Then he starts the breaking ball off the plate, takes it to the corner, and firmly in control. This is where you're Kevin Kiermaier. You're looking for a mistake, but thinking just put the ball in play.
And a foul-tipped strikeout right back into the mitt of the catcher, Matt Wieters.
Boy, 3 perfect pitches by O'Day. First pitch breaking ball, and then a backdoor, then rise the fastball and get it just above the swing. Foul tip, but Wieters able to control it.
Number 7, Daniel Nava.
Well, Daniel Nava will come on to hit for Luke Maile. Rays down to their final 2 outs in this 1-run ball game. Nava 2 for 6 in his career against O'Day. And he takes the pitch for a ball. All 4 Baltimore runs scored in the 8th when they sent 9 men to the plate. It's a strike and it's 1-1. Ball, 2 strikes.
Well, and when you think why no Zach Britton here tonight, he's worked 3 of the last 4 nights. Worked the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th. Night off last night, night off here tonight. And that's why O'Day is on, and right now has been sharp.
It's a chopper foul, gloved by Flaherty. O'Day worked Tuesday, an inning and 2/3. 3 strikeouts, gave up a hit. One out into the 9th inning tonight, and a 1-2 count on Nava. Fly ball to the opposite field. Pierce will have to go back, reaching up, and makes the catch for the 2nd out. Well, the Rays down to their final out. They need at least 1 run to keep this one going. Jaso homered to open the scoring in the 3rd inning. He's 2 for 6 against O'Day. The pitch is a strike. And a towering shot to right that hit the C ring and stuck up there.
That ball was absolutely mashed. The Rays an early lead. They would add on and then give it all away. Wonder where that ball ended up. Got footage of where it's at.
1 ball, 1 strike. Down 2-1. Cut and a foul ball, a little bit of that one. So it's a 2-2 count. Coming into this game, the Orioles scoring a little under 4.5 runs a game. The Rays averaging a little under 4. And it's 4-3 right now. Two. So did not go, says C.B. Buckner. The count is full. Three and two. Here it is to Jason. And a high fly ball back into center. Jones will go to the track and make the catch over the shoulder to end this one. John Jaso hit the fly ball to the warning track in center field. Caught by Adam Jones, and the Orioles take the first game of this series 4-3 on the strength of a 4-run 8th, overcoming a 3-run Rays lead. Row the winner, column A the loser. It's a 4-3 final. Same two teams tomorrow. We'll be with you on Sun Sports at 6:30. For Brian Anderson and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast and not the outcome. Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers, comes your way next.